Another road win for the Auburn men's basketball team in their second to last game of the regular season. They take down the Missouri Tigers, keeping them winless in SEC play 101-74. We got to talk about and react to this game. We've got the score, the stats, and the storylines all coming up right now. War Eagle Auburn family, and especially War Eagle to our E2C Network family, thank you so much for joining us, whether you are watching live, whether you're watching on the replay, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, all the different places, times, events, multiverses with which you can get this content. We appreciate you being here and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. This is reaction stream number, well, I can't remember exactly what number it is because we've missed a few, and there's a lot of basketball games that have been played, but several of them. We are breaking down the final road game in regular season play for Auburn men's basketball in their 2023-24 season, beating the Missouri Tigers 101-74. And doing it in fine fashion, handling business on the road. And can I just say, folks, I was a little bit worried about this game with the stigma of a team needing their first SEC win in Missouri. Would we be the first to give that to them? Thankfully, that is not the case. So lots to talk about from this game, especially calls and viewing windows for certain striped entities in the game. All that we can discuss in this game and talk about a little bit for you. A couple things I'd like for you to do for me. Smash the like button if you haven't. That is a huge help for us. Obviously, if only if you feel like we have earned that. But if you enjoy our content, that's a huge help to get the show started off. And after the fact, if you're on the replay too, we'd love you to check in with us too. Post where you're watching from in the comments section down below. Your name, your name will show up. But where you're watching from with a War Eagle, let us know what's going on. And we want to take some comments and questions from you. We got Kevlar, Jackson, Scotty, Thomas, Ryan, Lynn, all checking in. Devin's here. WT's here. Good to see all those fine folks all checking in from all across the place. A lot of people early want to talk about this one. Jackson saying Dylan hitting the three to get us over 100 is the best thing I've witnessed this season. And that's his second three-pointer on the year, which is, yeah, it's great. It's also kind of sad that Missouri was put further into misery. Yes, I'm going to make that joke 1,000 times today by what just happened to them at the hands of Dylan, this Auburn team. It was ridiculous by the end of this game. I think we were all ready for it to be done. I think Auburn was ready for it to be done. Missouri was ready for it to be done. Really, the game wasn't very much in question after the first half. Missouri hung tough, made it quite interesting in that first half. But when you see a caliber of a team like Auburn coming into your place, it's really hard to keep up the pace that you need to be successful against them. And that's unfortunately what happened to Missouri tonight. Thankfully for us, Auburn took care of business and did exactly what we knew they were all capable of, breaking the century mark and doing it in a variety of different ways. A lot of players got involved tonight. This is our first game without Lior Berman. Again, Lior was not someone who's ate up a lot of minutes, but he made his presence felt every time he was out in the court. So the first game without him, obviously this season they are playing for him at this point and using that as a little bit of extra motivation on top of what they already have. Another Dylan three. It starts going that if he starts doing that consistently, watch out. Here's the great thing. All of Auburn's big men, Dylan, Jalen, Janai, and even Chaney, I would count those as the four main big men, have all showed the propensity to be able to hit the three-point ball. Now, Janai and Jalen are the only ones that can do it consistently. Chaney hasn't taken a lot. It's probably a good thing. Dylan never has an opportunity to do so. Hopefully won't have too many more of those opportunities. No, not need it, but it's nice in garbage time for that to go down that way for him. Looks like we got a good crowd this evening, guys. If this is your first time here, of course, please do make sure you're subscribing, following, all that good stuff. We'd love to have you here often. It's a late night stream too. The fact that all of y'all are up watching this with me, kudos to you. Kudos to you. Looked like we had a good contingency of fans that came to the Missouri game. If you looked at ticket prices for this game throughout the season, it was like $5 or less. I think $1 by tip-off. the entire time. Yes, because of distance, but also because this is a really bad team. It's really, really bad. I want to say this. I don't want to be mean spirited, but I think as you watched Missouri play tonight, you could really tell why they are winless in SEC play. They play very aggressively with a chip on their shoulder so big and so heavy that it affects the rest of their play. I think, much like the rest of the SEC, a lot of great athletes, they just don't play together as a team. And you can see that a lot. If you'll go look at Auburn's, things that they shared on social media today, throughout the game, you'll see one play defensively where they just shut them down. We shared it out, and you will find a team that didn't really know what to do, how to share the ball, how to move it around. Guys just driving into a very stout defense of Auburn, especially when Jalen and Janai are down there. You just don't need to do that. Thomas says Missouri is awful, but I always love I love a take their lunch money win. Yes, it was definitely one of those games. I was a little worried about this game, Devin says too. Thought we would have our hands full with how desperate Missouri might have been. And I think that's the key difference here, just going back to what I was saying. They play aggressive, they play with a chip on their shoulder, but the difference is they were playing not to lose rather than playing to win. And even when you're a team in such bad state as them, you could have played to win and shocked the world on your home turf and beaten Auburn. But when you play that way, it's not going to really go well in your favor. I know a common storyline tonight. Yeah, the referees made sure they were the main focus. It is very evident. I don't want that to be the centerpiece of what we discuss, but we have to at least bring it up. I mean, how many times did they go review something? Now, on the one hand, that's the responsibility of Auburn and Missouri not to give them the ability to do that, to feel like they have to blow the whistle. Very chippy tonight. There was one point where we were just exchanging flops. The one by Chad Baker Mazar right after the Missouri flop was egregious and hilarious. But the other one was just such a pitiful, pitiful move for a team that was falling apart during the game. It was just bad. The one that Auburn did was just tit for tat at that point. About 10 times, maybe reserving there. Kevlar says, I got to hand it to the Missouri fans. They were a loyal bunch. Can't say we would be if we were out. We were zero for the SEC. I would like to think we would still show that same loyalty at home, especially for senior guys, but they did seem to have a pretty good crowd there, and they had some very good players that they wanted to see play last time tonight. What a good night. We go over 100 to blow out Missouri, and Alabama gets blown out by UF. Well, remember, we got blown out too there, so it must be something in the water down in the swamp. Let's see here. Who else is here? What else we got talking about? Elante says Chaney emerging and being this productive is super essential. I 100% agree with that. Chaney Johnson, it's not just a Chaney Johnson discussion. It is a Denver Jones discussion. It is a Trey Donaldson and Aiden Holloway discussion. We've got a lot of guys all peaking at the right time together, which makes you very deadly when it comes to the end of your season, SEC tournament time, and NCAA tournament time. So yes, Chaney rising to the occasion, maybe even taking a little bit of that pressure off of Jalen and Janai, that they know they've got a guy that's really rising to the occasion. Jalen's playing great. He looks great on that injured leg, but I'm sure there's still some soreness and unease there at times for him. To know that you have a guy like that ready to step up, it speaks the volumes of this team and how deep they are. Devin points out that the last part, I had that like completely backwards there. The last part of the first half was pretty sloppy, and we let them hang around, but we buttoned down in the second half and played our game. Yeah, and I think I attribute that mainly to Missouri. They really were playing well. I mean, they were shooting well, keeping up offensively with us, a little bit of sloppiness on our part. Missouri had an opportunity. If they continued to play at that pace, they might have been able to stay close enough to pull off an upset. But again, kind of like we already talked about, not a good team playing together. WT pointing out something very close to my heart. Two things: points in the paint and Jalen. Jalen looked just absolutely calm, cool, collected, and smooth this evening. What was it? Back to back, little almost baby hooks down there in the paint. He just looked like he was ready to go tonight. And I would never ever wish for someone to get hurt again, but it's almost like that just kicked him up to another level. And it's been interesting to watch how well he's responded after that injury. And I hope it continues. And I hope that leg stays solid for him because I want to see him finish strong. I cannot take another one of my players going down this season. Jalen thankfully came back. Lior, can we all just talk about this? Did we all collectively scream inside when we saw Trey Donaldson go limping over to the bench and then go back into the locker room? Got a little bit scary, didn't it? To me, it was a very scary moment. I got very, very worried about that. Not because I thought we would fall apart if Trey's not there, but he's a very integral part of this team and why they're so good. Yeah, we'll talk about some of these postseason and upcoming stuff here in the back half of the show. I want to finish covering some comments and questions and storylines. We'll look at some stats, and then we'll kind of, as we round out our show, look ahead to some of those things. Let's see here. For the first time in 30 years, Auburn has scored 100 points in 4 different games this season. There you go. There you go. So we just keep finding a way to make history. CBM has achieved Jalen type bro love for me. I think he excels in Coach Pearl's game plan. He does well both offensively and defensively. His threes were amazing in the first half. Really got us off to a good start, but also helped keep that Missouri run that they were trying to make at bay most of the night. Him and a bunch of other guys having a decent first half, at least scoring wise. You could say there was a little bit to be desired defensively by both teams. I think it was 40 points apiece in the first half. Let's look at it real quick. We'll take a quick look at some stats here. Where is it for first half? 44 for Auburn, 39 for Missouri. So basically 40 apiece in the first half. Kevin says, like the way we played throughout, developing good habits is essential. And you saw Bruce leave a lot of the guys in there much longer than maybe you would expect them to. I think there was a reason for that. As long as they were playing safe, playing smart, keeping them out there for minutes to get the reps and repetition and being able to face things. One of the things that I really liked at the end of the game is the opportunity for us to have to fight against a full court press. And you saw them utilize that a lot because they had to when we started pulling away. And we did a really good job breaking that for the most part. So that was one good thing that I really saw. Yeah, we're going to look at that. Hey, Jacob, you've been here long enough. You know me. We're going to get there. Thomas Manville, you once again, sir, are very, very generous and too kind. Thank you for the super chat over on YouTube. Appreciate it. Tom, we'll talk about that in a little bit, all the tiebreaker stuff and postseason stuff in just a little bit. All right, I think we've hit the majority of the storylines to initially talk about. I know we maybe skipped over some things, but let's move forward in the show. Let's talk about some stats. Your leading scorer tonight, no shocker here, the way he was just dominant down there, Janai Broom, 17 points, 7 for 14 from the field, 0 for 2 from three-point land, 3 for 5 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds. This is like the however manyth in a row game that he has come just short of a double-double. Like he's hit 8 or 9 rebounds the last several times. So almost a double-double for him tonight. 2 assists, 2 personal fouls. 1 turnover in 24 minutes of play. You've also got this. So what I'd like for you to do, I'm going to roll through some of the other stats. Who is your player of the game? In a comment, give me one player, one name. You don't have to give me an explanation. I just want to kind of take a quick tally here at the live chat. Who is your player of the game? Janai Broom with 17, Jalen Williams with 15, Chad Baker-Mazar with 15 as well. Dylan Cardwell with the 12 spot. The rest of your scores, Aiden Holloway with 9, Katie Johnson with 3, Trey Donaldson with 9, Chris Moore with 4, and Chaney Johnson with 7. Every one of the major players, I forget how you say this guy's name, Muschalik, got in at the end and didn't score anything. But every one of the major time getters on this team scored tonight, which is a good, really good sign. So, who is your player of the game? Who is it going to be? You can give me that. If after you give me a little quick tally, I can go ahead and um, tally that up, and then you can give me an explanation. But let's see what some of you guys are saying. We got another Holloway, Cardwell, CBM, Jalen. This is probably one of those nights where you really can pick a player of the game, and it can be different for everybody and not be wrong. I think a lot of players deserve some props in this game. If you look at just points alone, it's going to be Janai. Stats alone, it's going to be Janai. If you talk about maybe who was the most effective at the times you needed him to be, Chad Baker Mazara is probably going to be in that category. Jalen's going to be in that category tonight. I think, to me, and this is just my opinion, you guys can have a different one. I think it's going to be Jalen, and a lot of you do agree, because of the way he played tonight, with the context of knowing he is just several games removed from what looked like at the time a major injury. For a guy that has every reason to feel a little bit timid about landing on that leg, he is not scared. It's almost like that woke him up to, wow, my time was just quickly that over. I have to make the most of this. And he just watched one of his teammates lose the rest of his time on the season because of an injury. It's almost like that has woken him up even further than he was already woken up. He just looks so calm, cool, collected out there. Let's look at his complete stat line. 15 points, 5 for 7 from the field, 100% from the free throw line, 2 rebounds for him. I thought he had more than that. Only 1 turnover in 25 minutes of play. He gets the second most playing time tonight. So for me, I think it's Jalen Williams tonight. But everybody's pretty much got a case that they can make in this game and not be wrong. Broom for me, offense and defense tonight. Lots of options. But Cardwell, I think, needs to get a little bit of love too. Maybe not player of the game level, but he played well in a lot of different aspects. 100% from the field, especially three-pointers, rebounding, blocking shots, a lot of block shots tonight. It seemed like Auburn just had an answer every time Missouri, I keep wanting to say Missouri made a run tonight. So that's your individual stats. I think we've covered the most of them. I'm trying to make sure there's nothing of note. Oh, Chris Moore. Let's talk about Chris Moore, and then I want to talk about team stats. If you listen to Coach Pearl's press conference this week, which I always recommend you guys do if you have the time to, you'll get some great insights that, end up making sense down the road. You will find that Chris Moore being inserted back into the lineup more with Lior going down, Bruce kind of put a call out to him and said, when he's in, we are a different team defensively in a good way. What he has to step up in is his offensive, and I think the word he used was confidence. And early, you saw Chris Moore not just be a great rebounder, a great defender, but be aggressive with the way he was trying to go back up and score, picking up, some shots that were missed and things like that. That is the Chris Moore that we need. I'm not asking Chris Moore to be the 3-point shot maker, the guy driving the ball. I just need him to be what he's good at, a great defender, a great hustle guy, a great team leader, and make sure you go up with confidence when you get the chance to get the ball up there. So we got to give credit where credit is due to Chris Moore. He doesn't have the best stat line in the world with only 4 points, 3 rebounds, but he showed up tonight and I think answered the call that Coach Pearl put out in a way to him during the press conference this week. A good energizer. Cardwell's a good energizer, as WT just said. So I really like the make of this team as individuals and as a team. All right. Here we go. Let's look at some of these stats tonight. We're going to find a lot of good things. We'll walk through most of them. We're going to look at the big three, and we're going to try to find the stat that tells the story of the game. 52% from the field for Auburn, only 34 for Missouri. Pretty even on 3-point percentage. A decent night for all. Decent. 35 for Auburn, 33 for Missouri. Free throw percentage. Look at this beautiful thing for everybody. 86% for Auburn, 89 for Missouri. Kudos and hats off to Auburn and Missouri players for that beautiful thing right there. Turnovers, dead even. 11 turnovers for Auburn, 11 turnovers for Missouri. Probably all happened within that certain sequence where we literally didn't move the clock for like 20 minutes. 11 turnovers. Rebounds 41-28 Auburn. Look at that differential. That might be your stat of the game. 41-28 Auburn. What else is there to look at? Binge points doubled up by Auburn mostly, 35-19. Second chance points, there is a big difference there. Points in the paint, 48-22. When you look at a lot of these other stats below those, there's a lot of doubling up, bigger, gaps and things like that. Same thing defensively. They do get more steals than us. 16 assists to Auburn's 16 assists for Auburn, 7 for Missouri tonight. So Auburn wins a lot of those categories. Rebounding was one-sided. Folks, I think it's pretty simple. The stat of the game is that differential on rebounding. And especially when you do that on the road at someone else's place, you rebound like that. So very good for Auburn. The 41-28 differential there. And wow. I lost my place. 27-18 defensive rebounds tonight. So there you go. That is the team stats. Let's do this. We're at 20 minutes on our stream now. A really great crowd. Again, if y'all haven't smashed the like button, make sure you are subscribing, following wherever you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook. Let me give you a reminder of what's coming up, and we'll move into the last part of our show here. We'll look ahead to what's coming up, talk about some of the topics that y'all brought up a little bit earlier, that things that are implications and things like that. But got to remind you about what's coming up here at E2C Network. Tomorrow night, again, good crowd here tonight. Would love to see all of y'all here tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern time for our live call-in show. We talk about anything, everything. Hope that you can join us, and just it's a call-in show, so you can use the phone lines. We want to see all of you here tomorrow as well. Probably right after our call-in show, we will do a recording/live stream where you can join in conversation too for Auburn baseball. We'll talk about the week that was, UConn, Air Force, Austin P ahead. And then, oh, wow, I just noticed my graphics are a little bit off there. Auburn versus Georgia reaction stream, just like we're doing here this Saturday, the last one that we'll be doing for the regular season, folks. You better be here because it's the last one for the regular season. Still plenty more to go with tournaments and stuff, but we're not guaranteed tomorrow, pretty much after the SEC tournament. So enjoy them while you got them. All right. Safe to say Austin was not Missouri tonight. Yes, that is correct. For those of you that are new, Austin is my co-host on our main podcast, and we pretty much proven that anytime he goes to an Auburn basketball game, we lose. So he's been forbidden. And since we won by so much, he clearly wasn't there. All right. So thinking ahead, what's most prevalent on all of y'all's minds right now in terms of the games coming up, seeding? I know some of y'all brought that up early. I want to make sure that I get some of those comments and topics in now, so maybe you bring them back up to the front if you want to talk about specific aspects of it, so we don't have to go searching for those comments. But where are your minds at? Obviously, one more game versus Georgia. It's at home. We literally put their tails between their legs at their place. It stands to reason that Auburn would be able to handle business at home on senior day. Hope it's the case. We got over this one, which I was a little bit worried about. Still got to take care of business at home. After that, SEC play. There's a lot at play for the tournament. Where does Auburn get seated? As of tonight, I think they are still kind of in that 4 to 5 flip-flop spot. There's a graphic that was put out by, I forgot who to attribute to, but by the way, guys, if y'all haven't smashed that like button, I know I keep saying that a lot, but we're almost at 100 in total streamers on this, people watching the stream. I know it looks some on YouTube, some on Facebook, and some on Twitter, but if you can, we'll get above 100, just like the team did tonight. Century mark. I need something like a bell if we get above 100 viewers on a stream. That would be great. You look ahead to that. Auburn is right now trying to fight to get into that double bye situation, which I think they're in pretty good position to do so. It depends on what happens with everybody else. What do you guys think? What seed do you think will be? Where do you think we're going to end up at? Have to win the UGA game. Everything else is up to everything else is up to everyone else. Whether we win the SEC regular season doesn't matter much. Have to do what we need for a favorable seed in the NCAAs. Absolutely. To me, right now, I think there just needs to be zero focus about what happens with the other teams. Focus on staying healthy, continue to play like you are now, have a good showing in the SEC tournament to fight for better seeding in the NCAA tournament. Who do we want to play in the SEC tournament? I don't want to play anyone who is peaking because we seem to always play peaking teams in the tournament. Well, then we got above 100, guys. Woo! I need a bell or something. Ding, 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 ding. Wait a minute. You know what? I haven't used these in a long time, but we're going to know, folks, 100 streamers across all of our platforms that we're going on right now. Smash the like button for it. Here's your applause. Okay, that was lame, but we're going to do it anyway. So appreciate you guys helping us get to that tonight. Who do we want to play in the tournament? You don't want to play Florida. I think Kentucky's probably another one that you don't want to run into. However, I'm curious that we might. Well, let's talk about it this way. Tennessee is going to be your number one, barring failure. I would say it's going to be. I don't know who's really good. It's really wide open for that 2, 3, 4 spot. But I think Auburn's going to find themselves most likely in the 4 spot by the end of it. So you might be stuck with Tennessee again, which we played them very well. Thank you, WT. Thank you, WT. I don't know. What do you guys think? Who do you not want to be matched against? For me, it's Florida. For me, it's Kentucky. I'd rather see Tennessee again, just because we played them so well. I'd like to get another crack at Connect, to be honest with you. And he looks very formidable, but I'd like to see what we can do against him. Stay healthy in the SEC tournament, show up and play well on the neutral floor. I agree. So Georgia game, got to take care of business, finish out on a strong note. SEC tournament, hopefully we'll get a favorable matchup so we can make a little bit of a run, looking for that double bye for an extra bit of rest. NCAA tournament coming up, fighting to stay in a 4 spot there for seeding. Think that would be ideal for Auburn based on where their chances are for each of these things. Now, if they go on a run in the tournament, SEC tournament, sky is the limit. The sky could be the limit. Last 2 tournaments, we played A&M, who made it to the finals, and Arkansas, who made it to the Sweet 16. We've been unlucky. Yes, that is correct. That is very correct. So there you go. That's your look ahead. All right. Final comments, questions, topics. Get them in now before we get out of here. As I said before, I hope to see you on some of our streams, especially tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern time here on YouTube. Call-in show if you'd like to take advantage of that. And check out our links in the description on YouTube for ways that you can support us. If you guys are interested, you can join the Conquer Club by going to patreon.com/E2C Network and sign up for $1 a month to help keep the lights on. Or you can hit the join button here at YouTube. It's the same process, and you'll get the same type of perks. A little bit different, but basically the same. You're all part of the Conquer Club. Just a way to help keep the lights on. Thank you to so many of our people who are able to do that for us, like WT, like Thomas, like Jackson, who was on here, so many other, Devin. I'm going to forget somebody, and I apologize for that. But thank you guys for all your support there. I had one more thing I wanted to bring up, and it's just escaping me right now. But anyway, do all those things. Super excited for everything coming up. WT says, to show how equal the season has been for the SEC, there's a chance that it ends with a 5-way tie for the championship. Oh, that's a legitimate opportunity. I don't know if that changed based off of all the games tonight and tomorrow, but I think it, as of this moment, that's still very much at play. Kevlar says Kentucky, UT, Florida, or Alabama doesn't matter because we will have to beat them to win the tourney. And yeah, I think that's a point Kevlar's trying to make here. It really doesn't matter who you get not signed up against. Eventually, you're going to see some of those teams that you don't want to see. But it's still a fun conversation to have of who you prefer not to see, meaning like if they could get beat before we see them. I think in an ideal world, You're maybe looking for a team like Georgia, who wasn't terrible this season, to go on a little bit of run and surprise some folks and knock some teams out. So maybe you can see them again for a third time, hopefully beating them the second time, and be able to take them down in the tournament. No, as far as tonight, it worked to continue the 5-way tie. So there you go. There you go. All right. We have talked about the score 101-74. Tigers, the real Tigers, win in Missouri. We've talked about the stats, individual, team, giving the kudos to Janai and Jalen basically as players of the game. Stats, rebounds, won it. We have looked at, the look ahead to the Georgia game, to the SEC tournament, to the NCAA tournament. Folks, March Madness is here. We are going to have a good time. I hope y'all are ready for it. And I hope you're going to be here at E2C Network, following us on Facebook, here at the home base of YouTube. Smash that like button and hang out with us more. We hope to see so many of you fine folks here as we go throughout March Madness. Thanks for being here. Till we talk to you again, it's been a good win and a good time tonight. War Eagle.